Try it again. Shabbat Shalom, everyone. We're going to begin on page 6. Thinking about angels, the angels that follow us to and from shul. They come with us. They help us get from place to place. Maybe you felt like you needed a little extra angelship walking through the city. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharei, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Boachem Leshalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Baruchuni Leshalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Kadosh Baruch Hu Yananai Yadadai Dai 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 Shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Yiriram Dai 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 Dai. Sukkah Gale, gale. Ufros chavivi alav etzuka zuka I invite you to take a deep breath in through your nose and out through your mouth. And throughout, as we're getting ready to move into Shabbat, we're not quite there yet. I know it feels like we might be, but we need that little bit extra to get there. And as we move through these Psalms, I invite you, maybe you're not, quote, a singing person, maybe you don't really like music. This is going to be kind of awkward if that's the case. But with that being said, you can always fall back, even if you don't know the words, to just humming. And it sounds very good. And we're going to try it together because you're going to see how it works. But this is where we're going to start. We're going to start on this note. And the best thing about humming is that if I were to stop, I know that you're going to keep going. And so that when you need to take a break and take a breath, or if you just want to listen for a second, you can take a break and hear the sounds around you, how it might blend with the rain from outside. This is the sound of us moving into Shabbat. Lechu neranena l'Adonai Naria letzur yishenu nekadma fanav vetoda Vizmirot Narialo. You can read in the Hebrew or keep humming. If only we heard God's voice. Hayomi Bekolo Tishmanu. Arba'im Shana Akud Bador. Maram tu'ele vavchem, vehem lo yadu derachai, asher nishbatim ve'apim im yevun el menuchatim. Continue on your own in the next few pages. Shir Ladonai, Shir Ladonai. Before world weaver, sky maker, beauty and majesty are the heralds. Strength and glory serve the sanctuary. Adonai, see נפשות חסידיו, ביד רשעים יצילם. אור זרוח לצדיק, וישרה לב שמחה. שמחו צדיקים באדוני, וחודו לזכר קודשו. In the middle of page 16. Zamru l'Adonai bechino, bechino, bechol zimra. Zamru l'Adonai That speaks to us here and now is the same voice that emerged out of the clouds, the cloud that would follow the Israelites through the desert. What would it feel like to have a cloud following you in the desert? We normally think of clouds being a horrible thing. You might be thinking that right now. But what it would feel like to have the cell, just the shadow of a cloud that follows you, keeps you from the heat. Yedaber aleichem Shamru edotav v'chok natan lanu Adonai Eloheinu ata anitam El noseh hayita lachem v'nokem aloni lotam Romemu Adonai Eloheinu ve'yishtachavu lehar kodsho ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu. Invite you to rise and join us on page 20. You can be seated. Take steps from the beginning of the Psalms up to Lachadodi. And then we get right to the door. And I don't know if you've ever done this, but if you've ever gotten to a party or maybe work and you get there and then right as you're about to turn the knob, you take a second. And that breath before you enter into a room. Before we enter into Shabbat, we say this mystical poem, Anabakoach. It asks to be unbound, for all the knots to be untied. It's the knot that we need to untie. We have one last opportunity before we open the door. What's the one thing that you need to leave in last week?
tomorrow's Torah reading, we read about Shemitah, or the land resting, the release of the land. And since most of us are not farmers in Israel, where that law applies, let's try applying it within and see if we can release and be released. So I invite you to close your eyes for a moment if you're comfortable. And think about the burdens you're carrying. Maybe tense up the part of the body where you're carrying them, the fear or the burden, and then release. And then again, shoulder, another shoulder, your neck. Where does the fear live? Where are you carrying your burdens? And then think for a moment, what's gripping you? Who's gripping you? And imagine a fist opening up slowly, finger after finger. And you relax, free, and released. What does it feel like? Does it feel like Shemitah? Does it feel like Shabbat?
Melech, ir melech. Omer
Shabbat Shalom, you can take a seat. As we stand now in the doorway of Shabbat, we think about those in our lives, those in our community who need refuah shlema, a healing of body, a healing of spirit. To take the little bit of brokenheartedness we bring with us everywhere that we go. The Torah teaches that not only do the Israelites carry the tablets, the two totally fine tablets in the ark, they also carry the broken tablets. And that when we enter into Shabbat, it's not that we leave the other tablets outside. We have a little bit more space at our table for them. And if you'd like to bring the person that you're thinking of or the people you're thinking of into this space, I invite you to say their name out loud. Healer of the broken-hearted, binder of their wounds, counter of uncountable stars, you know who they are. Harofei Lishreilem Umchadesh le'atzvotam Moneh mispar kochavim Lekulam shemot nikra Master of all the universes, healer of the brokenhearted, we ask for refuah shlema, a sense of peace, a sense of wholeness. We ask that it come quickly. comes, we'll say, Rabbi Diane.
Shabbat Shalom, everybody.
Shabbat Shalom.
Unfortunately, Rabbi David Inger is not feeling well, so we all wish him a refuah shlema. And it's great to see those of you who are here in the room despite the rain and despite rising COVID numbers. So welcome, welcome, and welcome to people on Zoom, wherever you are. I can't say it's great to see you, but I know you're out there somewhere. So anyone tonight that's new, here for the first time? Yes. Oh, would you like to introduce yourself? Please stand up and tell us who you are and where you're from. Saralea from Northern Nevada. Welcome. Sorry, I'm from Brooklyn. Brooklyn. Anyone from Brooklyn here? Yeah. Wait, Sharon, you live 2 blocks away from me. You don't live in Brooklyn, but you're from Brooklyn, like me. Okay. All right. Anyone else that's here for the first time? Huh? Michael from Amherst. Oh, from Israel. Baruch haba. I missed someone back there. Hello. Abdul. Morocco. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Anyone else here for the first time since the pandemic? Yeah, welcome. It's brave, right, to come out again. Okay, well, with that, again, a Shabbat Shalom to all, and I turn it back to Jackson for entering into community prayer.
Because he's not here, I'm going to steal something that I learned from him. But a lot of what we do, what has been done as Jewish people throughout history, is like creating circles and creating concentric circles. And one of the things that we're about to do is we as a group, and maybe individually, just moved into Shabbat together. But we're going to turn in a second, and what we're going to do is we're going to basically align ourselves with Jews wherever they are, probably a lot of them on the Upper West Side right now, facing towards a similar direction. Which is an interesting thing to think about, that we need to prepare ourselves before we can go in as a community. But then when we go in as a community, it's like we go in as a community. Like it's a big, we're all facing the same way. We're all praying the same words for the most part. So I invite you to rise as we prepare to move into the evening prayers, which can be found on page 31. Yeah, 31 and 32. Yiddy You can be seated and continue on page 33. אלא חיה וקיימת, תמיד תמלוך עלינו לעולם ועד. ברוכה את שכינה המעריבה אבי. אהבת עולם בין ישראל עמך, תורה ומצוות וקיום משפטים. A love across space and time and soul. Have you taught us? Have you loved us? And so as we sleep and as we wake, we contemplate your truths. אל תסיר ממנו לעולמים. ברוך אתה אדוני, רוכב עמו ישראל. שמע ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם, בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ושוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך. You continue in English or Hebrew on page 41. והיה אם שמוע תפנו. Now if you will listen to my asking this. Put his words on your heart, on yourselves, bind them as a sign upon your hands, them dangle between your eyes. Teach them to your children to speak of them Sit in your home. You go on your journeys when you're at the moment of close and your house is on your gates. The breath of life spoke to motion. Speak to the God wrestling people and say to them, Ani Adonai Elohechem Emet. Moshe Miriam Bnei Yisrael Lecha'anu Shira V'Simcha Rabba Ve'amru Kulam Mi Chamocha Ba'elim Adonai Mi Chamocha Nedar B'Kodesh Nora Tehilot Oh say Yiddy dai 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 ya da 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 dum ya da 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 dum ya dai 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 ya dai 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 Okay, I'm leaving Moshe Miriam. Zeli, Anu ve'ameru, Adonai Yimloch, Le'olam va'ed. ונאמר כי ועד אדוני ויעקב וגואלו מעט חזק ממנו ברוך אתה אדוני גאל ישראל השכיבנו אדוני אלוהינו לשלום והעמידנו מלכנו לחיים ופרוס עלינו סוכת שלומך Spread over us the sukkah, the shelter of peace. Ufros aleinu sukkah shlomecha. Baruch atah Adonai, haporei sukkah shalom aleinu, ve'akol amo Yisrael, ve'akol yoshvei tevel, ve'al Yerushalayim. you to stand. We're on the top of page 52. V'shameru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat לדורותם בריתו ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ וביום השביעי שבת וינפש יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה עמדי ברכירותי וימליך מלכותי וחייכון וביומכון ולחיי לכל בית ישראל בעגלה ובזמן קריב ואמרו אמן יהי שמי רבה מבורך לעולם מעליה יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומן ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי דקודשה לעילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה תושבחתה ונחמתה תמירן בעולם ואמרו Amen. Continue with your own personal Amidah, beginning on page 55. Say shalom, Biroma, Uya, say shalom, Aleinu, Ve'alkom, Yisrael, Rememu, Oh, say shalom in Romem, Uya, say shalom, Aleinu ve'alko Yisrael, ve'alko Yoshvei Tevel, ve'imeru, Amen. Oh, say shalom bimromah. Uya, say shalom. Aleinu ve'alko Yisrael, ve'alko Yoshvei Tevel, ve'imeru. Amen.
When our 3 children were infants, my husband used to sort of place them on the changing table and rotate their legs, saying, I've got places to go, I've got things to do, I've got people to see. They would beam up and smile, and as soon as they were old enough, they would giggle and giggle. But of course, they didn't have places to go, they didn't have things to do, and they didn't have people to see. All they had to do was be. At that stage of life, they were as much as possible manifestations of pure and holy being. But my husband and I, we had places to go and things to do and people to see, especially living in New York City. There was no dearth of places to go and things to do and people to see. We knew very well how to live like that. What we needed was to learn how to stop for ourselves, to stop for each other, to stop for our children, to stop so that the divine presence could rest between us, to just stop. But I didn't learn it then, and I can't speak for my husband because he's not here, but I don't think he learned it then. Certainly not when I was working and I had 3 kids under 3. And now that they are adults, I think maybe just possibly be learning it, or at least I'm practicing. It turns out that stopping is a hard thing to do, and it takes a lot of courage. Our portion this week, the portion we will read from tomorrow morning, talks about the importance of stopping. It talks about the land and letting the land stop. It's the law of Shemitah, which means to release, but it also says that the land should stop, that there should be a Shabbaton for the land. Stop and stop. Every 7 years, we stop planting, we stop harvesting, we observe Shemitah, at least again in the land of Israel. We stop. And in fact, this very year is a year of Shemitah, observed with a lot of loopholes in the land of Israel. Here's what the Torah tells us to do. Leviticus 25. Daber el bnei Yisrael v'amarta alehem ki tavo el haaretz asher ani noten lachem V'shavta haaretz Shabbat la'Adonai. Speak to the children of Israel and say to them, when you enter the land that I'm giving you, the land is to cease, a Sabbath ceasing to Adonai. The seventh year is a Shabbat for the land itself. The Torah hears the needs of the earth to rest. The Torah goes on. For 6 years, you are to sow your field. For 6 years, you are to prune your vineyard. You are to gather in its produce. 6 shanim tizra sadecha, v'shesh shanim tizmor karmacha, v'asafta et tfuata. So for 6 years, you have to go, go, go. And then, v'shana shvi'it Shabbat Shabbaton yiyeh la'aretz Shabbat l'Adonai. In the seventh year, there shall be a stopping of Sabbath, ceasing for the land, a Sabbath to Adonai. Sadcha lo tizra, v'charmacha lo tizmor. Your field you are not to sow, your vineyard you are not to prune. So it's interesting, this principle of stopping doesn't start here in Leviticus. It stops in Breshit. It starts in Breshit, in Genesis. And in fact, we could say, in the beginning, God stopped. Consider this. Vayivarech Elohim et yom hashvi'i v'yikadesh oto ki vo shavat mikol melachto asher bara Elohim lasot. God blessed the seventh day and sanctified, for on it God ceased, stopped from all God's work that by creating God had made. So this principle of stopping is encoded in the Torah from the very beginning. Shemitah is just a further manifestation of it. And as the Torah goes on in Genesis, the Torah describes only God stopping, but as the Torah goes on, people stop, animals stop, the strangers stop. It becomes clear. Shabbat becomes an institution for people, not only for men, but for women, not only for adults, but for children, not only for Israelites, but for the stranger amongst them, and not only for humans, but for animals. And not only now we see in Leviticus for creatures, but for the land itself, right? This principle of stopping and resting is extended to the earth. Every seventh day we rest, every seventh year the land rests. I call it rest and revolution. This extraordinary principle of resting and stopping applied to the earth itself. As if the Torah could hear the cry of the earth, the need of the earth to rest and to heal. Imagine if we observed that globally all these years, and every 7 years gave the whole world, right, the whole earth, the whole planet, a chance to rest, a chance to heal. Maybe we wouldn't be in this mess that we're in now. And note that in Genesis, this is very instructive. There is no kedusha or bracha, no sanctity or blessing until God stops, until God finishes God's work and stops. So there's something about stopping that allows the divine presence to really manifest amongst us and intensify. So as we see, stopping is a crucial principle in the Torah. But then I discovered it's not only the Torah, it's not only Judaism. This is a principle we can find in other religions. So the other day I was listening to Thich Nhat Hanh, and some of you know that Thich Nhat Hanh is a teacher of mine from afar. And in this video, he talks about, well, he begins with these words: I have arrived, I am home in the here and the now. I am solid, I am free, in the ultimate I dwell. But then he goes further. He goes on to describe stopping. He says, some of us continue to run even in our sleep, in our dreams, because running has become a habit. We run in our sleep, in our dreams. I have arrived. I am home. I don't want to run anymore. You want to really rest. And then he says in this really sweet voice, his voice is amazing to listen to. You like to listen to the music of your breathing in and out. Your heart is playing music. Like that, you can enter your sleep peacefully and with much pleasure. Now listen to this part. He says, the practice of stopping is very crucial in the Buddhist tradition. There are moments when we don't do anything. We just sit there and lie down. But our bodies have not stopped. There's a tension in our bodies. The body does not have the capacity to rest, to stop. Stopping does not just mean stopping the mind, it means stopping the body. Because the body has this habit of running. There's a feeling of restlessness in the body. You can help the body to stop. You can help to stop the mind. And then he says, and this blew me away, the Buddhist term for stopping is shamatha. Now I'm probably pronouncing it not correctly. I don't know what it is. I don't even know what language it's in, but he said shamatha and he said stopping. And I'm like, oh my God, this is Shemitah. What is going on here? So I asked all my best friends who are scholars, and no one had really heard of this connection between Shemitah and shamatha. So I don't know if it's a real thing. What I learned is the semantic fields are different. What that means, I don't know, but they're different. So just to go on a little bit with Thich Nhat Hanh, you can stop at the time you walk. Wow, can you imagine that? What does that mean? You can even stop while you run, jogging, meditation, because you are not running after something. You are not searching for something at all. You're at peace in the present moment. That is the meaning of shamatha. You need a strong will and a big desire in order to stop, Thich Nhat Hanh says, because the habit of running is very strong in us, in our mind and in our body. I think what is implicit here is that it takes courage to stop. We're so used to running, and we so admire each other for running. It's like, oh, I'm so busy. I'm just so busy, right? Everybody wants me to do something. I'm so busy. And thereby, I legitimate myself, right? I always feel needed. I always feel connected. But what happens if we just stop? I want to talk a little bit about the application of stopping. First, specifically, the connection between stopping and justice. Last Saturday afternoon, a white gunman in body armor killed 10 Black shoppers and workers at a supermarket in Buffalo, New York. Another Black person and 2 white people were wounded. Federal officials are investigating the shooting as a hate crime. A state-level murder case is also underway. America can't seem to stop using guns. When can we stop? Just stop. As a sign of awareness that we've done great harm by allowing our citizenry to walk around with semi-automatic rifles and shotguns, can we just stop? I think what happens is that every time one of these things happen, we're in shock, we reel, we rock, we stop, and then we forget. We stop stopping. Now I know I'm preaching literally to the choir. I'm guessing most of you in this room would agree that these massacres have to stop. I mean, who wouldn't? And maybe even that we have to regulate the use of guns. That we have to stop using them to kill innocent people going about their lives. That we have to stop allowing our school children to be killed in one of these massacres. That America has to stop killing people of color. Let's stop right here, right now. Let's say the names of the deceased. Let's show that we care. Roberta A. Drury, 32 years old. Margus D. Morrison, 52 years old. Andre McNeil, 53 years old. Aaron Salter, 55. Geraldine Talley, 62. Celestine Cheney, 65. Hayward Patterson, 67. Catherine Massey, 72. Pearl Young, 77. Ruth Whitfield, 86. Let's think about where else we need to stop. Let's stop desecrating the earth. Let's stop exploiting her. Like the Torah, let us recognize that the earth is desperate for rest. She needs a rest, so let's stop. And while these are really big asks, and many of us are just trying to do our best to get by in life, after all, we've got things to do and places to go. We've got people to see. But maybe we can begin by each of us identifying places we can stop. Stop something we're uncomfortable with. Stop mistreating someone or stop them from mistreating us. Just a little story about that. I remember a couple of decades ago, I was talking to a friend and I was about to say something a little bit mean about someone else. And I'll never forget his words. He said, "Stop right there." He didn't want to hear my gossip. He didn't want to hear my lashon hara, right? What's called the evil tongue in Judaism. And of course I was embarrassed. And of course I felt terrible. But I remember that lesson 2 decades later in some random conversation I had with my friend. He taught me something, that you could stop in the middle of a conversation, even though everything we do is sort of designed to keep going and not really question. And it's so hard to just say, stop, I'm uncomfortable with that. So stop. Maybe just stop talking and begin to listen. Or maybe if you're a listener, you never talk, stop listening, begin to talk. At other times, just stop whatever you're doing to see what else is there, to allow the presence of God to live amongst us. I know we all have places to go, things to do, and people to see. But if we want to live a life with justice, a life with a divine presence in our midst, a life of wholeness, and it's time to learn how to stop, to practice stopping, to just stop.
I invite you to rise as we continue on page 78. V'hashevota el levavecha ki havaya hu ha'elohim v'hashevota v'hashevota invite you to take a seat unless you're saying Kaddish. I invite you, if you're observing a yard site or if you're in the first 7 days, Shiv'ah or Shloshim, the first 30 days, or within the first 11 months of somebody close to you passing. If you'd like to bring that name into this space, I invite you to. It's your custom to rise. I invite you to. My grandmother would always really embarrass me when we would go to shul because she would always stand up and she would always say, I'm saying Kaddish for everyone who doesn't have anyone to say Kaddish for them. If that's what you'd like to do, you can do that too. Yitgadal v'yitgadash shemei Rabbah ve'alma divirach hiruteh ve'amlich malchuteh v'chayechon u'v'yomechon u'v'chayei dechol beit Yisrael v'agala u'v'zman kariv v'imru
Amen.
Yehi shmei Rabbah mevarach le'olam almei almaya Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh V'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shmei dekudsha
Richu.
ve'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushvechata v'nechemata da'al niran ve'alma v'imru
Amen.
Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru
Amen.
Oseh shalom v'imrumav hu ya'aseh shalom Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol yoshvei tevel, v'imru. Amen. May their memories be for a blessing. One last choreographic standing, sitting, up, down moment. We're in a moment of particular pausing and counting as we're in between Passover and Shavuot, our holiday of redemption and our holiday of receiving Torah, and we count the days, we count sevens, which seems fitting for this night. I'm going to find it for us in our Siddur. It's somewhere, probably. Nice, thank you. Yes, we're on page 105, and you do this funky thing where you don't say the day that it is until you make the blessing. So you remind people by saying, yesterday was what number? Does anyone know? 34. And we know the number that comes after 34. Great. We're all on the same page, which is, it's going to be in the bottom part of 105. But the blessing itself is in the middle of page 103. And I invite you to stand. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu al sfirat haomer. On page 105, Hayom Hamisha Ushloshim Yom Shehem Hamisha Shavuot LaOmer Malchut V'Shehud. Today is the 35th day of the Omer, which is 5 weeks of the Omer. I invite you to take a seat. We're going to have a few announcements.
For those of you in the house and for those of you on the Zoom, you're all invited to come across the street after services for an odig, a nice little nosh, and a sing-along as part of the month-long Shabbat of the Child program, generously sponsored by Gil Mandelzis and Capitolis. It's an amazing month of remembering and learning about what it means to keep our children safe. So please join us. And if you're on the Zoom, you can Zoom in and participate in the sing-along as well. And yeah, this is keeping these guys, how to keep these guys safe. There's also a program tomorrow afternoon with Dr. Betsy Stone about how to, about keeping intentionality in our treatment of our children.
Yes.
I'll also say this weekend, join Romemu for the Israel Day Parade. Whatever your politics are, it's a great event to just come out, be together as a Jewish community and others in New York and say we love Israel for all the things that we love and all the things that we may not about Israel. Come and be with us. And then the last thing, our community meeting, annual community meeting. It's the official annual meeting of Romemu. It's on Thursday night. Please join. It's a great opportunity to hear whatever's going on behind the scenes at Romemu. You can ask questions. We'll take any question and we may answer it. Lots more in you have a announcement sheet in your prayer books and online. I'm sure you're seeing these announcements flash by you. Shabbat Shalom, everybody.
Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom.
Oh, beautiful. I feel bad because I don't have one of those announcement sheets, so I'm not going to get everyone's name, so I apologize. But we're going to make Kaddish here, and then again, if you want to join us next door, if you haven't had enough singing, if you haven't been convinced yet that you're a singing person, there's still hope. We'll do some singing, we'll have some food. Into this cup of blessing, we're thinking about all the people who, there's a lot that goes on before people get here. And there's a lot of people that do it. And they work very, very hard. In particular, Grace, who I don't think is in the room right now. I think they're across the street already, like getting things ready. Grace has done so much for Shabbat of the Child and has really put so much effort into it. And we're thinking of our musicians, some of whom I've never even met until right now, which is the wonder of Romemu. It's great. And of course, like all of you for coming and braving the monsoon that happened to occur right at the time of services starting. We're going to wrap up on page 87. Vayechulu hashamayim ba'aretz v'chol tzevam vayichal Elohim bayom hashvi'i melachto asher asa vayishpot bayom hashvi'i mekol melachto asher asa vayivarech Elohim et yom hashvi'i vayikadesh oto Ki vo shabbat mikol melachto asher bara Elohim laso. Savri chaverai. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagefen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodsho be'avav ratzon hinchilanu zikaron lema'aseh b'reishit. Ki hu yom techila lemikra kodesh zecher letziat Mitzrayim. Kivanu v'charta ve'otanu kidashta im kol ha'amim ve'shavat Shecha be'ahava u'ratzon inchaltanu Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh haShabbat. Amen. Shabbat shalom, everyone. Oh, say shalom bimromah. Shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael Shabbat shalom.